At Prudential Center on Saturday night, the Devils were trying to extend their winning streak to 3. They took on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils not winning 3 in a row since the end of November, hoping to move a little closer to a playoff spot. They got some help on the out-of-town scoreboard, but couldn't take care of business themselves as they fall by a score of 4-1. So this was not much must-win, Chico Resch. There's 34 games left, but I don't know. You wanted to prove something to yourself and to the fans against Carolina, get to 3 straight wins, but not the case.
Well, I mean, Matty, I've always said a hockey game are 3 games, 3 periods. And for the first period, Devils weren't ahead, but they looked really, really good. They were doing lots of things right, getting better chances, I thought, than Carolina. But, Matt, consistency comes with scoring goals. It doesn't matter about the rest of it. I mean, it does, of course. You got to win puck battles. You got to make some nice plays, but you need somebody to put that puck in the net, and the Devils just couldn't find it until already into the third period. They got a nice goal. It was 2-1, and I just want to say this. Here's a game changer. We were just talking about it's 2-1, and Jackson Blake scores. And you know why? Because Devils are getting penalty. The Anderson, the goalie's coming off, and Blake jumps on. That's how he got all alone with a nice pass from Ehlers, and he went in, went across, went backhand. But I thought, how did he get so open? It was a change with the goalie coming out and him getting on the end. Now, bad break? I don't know. All I know is it was a killer for the Devils.
Well, he sure was going to be called for the penalty. He was down on the far wall, tangled with Ehlers, who got up and got into the play, obviously. Then Dougie Hamilton runs into Timo Meier on the play. So now you have 3 guys kind of trapped in the zone, the extra skater coming off the bench on the delayed penalty. And
if he's not coming off, that's a fine play. You got everybody covered. But when Blake comes off for the goalie, now you got that extra play. I mean, lucky, kind of, but you know, that's what the Devils haven't really had a bunch of lucky puck luck. And tonight, only the 1 goal. Not a lot tonight either.
No, not enough as they lose by a score of 4-1. While we wait for reaction from the Devils dressing room and interviews from our content team, and we'll hear from head coach Sheldon Keefe in his live post-game news conference. Let's check out highlights of this game. And in the first period, the Devils outshot the Hurricanes 10-4. Cody Glass had an early try, a shot from the slot that was stopped by Anderson, and then it went up in the air, and Anderson batted out of the air mid-waist. So that goes by the board. Later on, it was Jesper Bratt with a chance. Jesper Bratt off the draw. Center set move, cuts in front, shot, and it's deflected wide by Anderson. Yeah, he came in, made that move, that 10-2 move with his skates.
Yes.
But couldn't put the puck past the Danish netminder. And so it stayed no score. In fact, the Devils not only outscore Carolina or outshoot Carolina 10-4 in the first period, Carolina didn't get its first shot till 11-17, and it was Jackson Blake with the chance. Yeah, turnover shot save made by Markstrom on Blake. And so that was part of the game too. Turnover opportunity. That is the truth. Hockey is a game of mistakes, Chico, but this Carolina team, among the better teams in the league, certainly, at taking advantage of mistakes made.
Oh, absolutely, Matty. Every championship team or every real good team does that. The Devils did that when they were winning championships. That was one of their strengths. But tonight it didn't happen. It was Carolina, again, taking care of those chances they got.
Jack Hughes had a breakaway opportunity. Here's what happened. Now out high to Miller for Walker. A wrist shot that hit a teammate. Went off of Jankowski, who's crunched, or check that Hall, who's crunched by Kovacevic. Now it's Brett, has a man cutting to the front of the net. It's Jack Hughes, he shoots. Save made by Anderson. We'll have a face-off. Oh, my. Still looking for the Jack Hughes that we know. It's coming. It's getting closer as he comes back from injury, but still just 1 goal since he returned to the lineup.
Yeah, Matty, and I don't know what I'm expecting, but if you remember every breakaway, he's tried to do that deke and go 5-hole. Don't ask me what that means, but there's been no shooting or hanging on and going far to the left, far to the right. But again, don't ask me. I'm not saying anything except that's what's happened.
Jack finished the game with 3 shots on goal. The team was led by Timo Meier, 6. He also had 3 that were blocked and 4 that missed the target, so an active night for Timo Meier. At the end of the period, the Devils pulled Markstrom with 2.5 seconds to go in a face-off in Carolina's end. Nico Hischier did his job. He won it cleanly. Dougie Hamilton with a good shot, but the puck went off the glove of Freddie Anderson. So good setup. Almost worked to perfection, but still, the Devils don't score. So we're scoreless going into the second. Dawson Mercer in tight had a chance. Here's a chance for the Devils. Oh, the puck slides off the stick of Dawson Mercer off the turnover.
He was all alone in front, Matty.
Oh, I can feel your pain.
Oh, I just thought at least he's going to get it on net, maybe not score. But his anxiety overcame him, or he looked up too quickly and the puck just slithered off the end of his stick.
We knew that the first goal would be an important one, and that first goal came from Carolina. Svechnikov off a turnover, they score. Devils turned it over, and Carolina turns it into a goal. Andrei Svechnikov with his 14th goal of the season at 13-12, and Carolina gets that important first.
And it was a great shot. We'll give the shooter that advantage because he shoots just over the pad inside the post. If you're looking at the net on the right side, over the pad, under the glove. Okay, 1-0. We can live with that.
But less than a minute later, Svechnikov again, and it was 2-0. Devils do drive it in, but Carolina with it. Up ahead, he goes to Aho. Across the line for Svechnikov. Shot. He scores! It bleeds through Jacob Markstrom. And 2 goals, bang, bang, by Andrei Svechnikov. And it's 2-0. It was a good shot. It went through some traffic, but it also went 5-hole.
Yeah, goalie's got to stop that. But I'm watching that. This is what you got to understand. Seth Jarvis, he pushes our defenseman, Siegenthaler, back. So then Svechnikov waits, Matty, and he does shoot it through those 2 legs. I get that, but it can't go through. It can go through the 5-hole, but like I always say, it's the ones that go through you that kill you, not the ones that go by you.
Devils had a power play at the end of the second that carried over into the third. They did not score. Trailing 2-0, they get another power play opportunity at 3:16. Sean Walker called for his 3rd penalty of the game. Devils go to work, and they crawl within 1. Down the left wing side. Stutterstedt move. Gets in deep behind the net. Can't get it in front. Now plays it out high. Hamilton gives it off to Meier. Back to Dougie. Slides it along the far wall. Glass out high. Meier rips one. It's blocked. He gets it back. Meier again. They score! Wow! Long-range shot beats Freddie Anderson. It's a power play goal. And the Devils are within 1. Block this one, buddy, is what Timo Meier was saying.
Yeah. He felled Jarvis on the first block, and Jarvis was hurting a little bit. The second one, a nice shot, but a long shot, like you said. Mm-hmm. That's what we want from the Devils. Just keep shooting.
So at 4:27 of the third, the Devils make it a 2-1 game. Timo Meier from Cody Glass and Dougie Hamilton. Hamilton not as noticeable as he was in some previous games, but does extend his point-scoring streak to 3. We're going to go back to highlights, but first, here's Sheldon Keefe.
Mm-hmm. It's a sequence of events after our penalty kill, leading to the first goal and then to the second goal. You know how much we talk about second period play, and did it to ourselves there.
I'm just wondering, what do they do defensively that makes them so hard to maybe get inside of them or get some more offense against them?
They check very well. They got really good sticks. They skate well. They don't give you the time and space to get into spots, to get really sustained offense. But we were in alone on their goalie 6 times tonight. So, as much as there's not an abundance of offense or sustained offense or lots of shots, or we're in alone a bunch of times with some of our best people. Got to make it count. The game changes significantly if we get ahead of this one. But we let them hang around, and then we weren't disciplined and composed enough to just stay with it. A little stubborn in that second period and paid for it.
You mentioned it a little bit there, but is it even more frustrating, maybe not the right word, to play the first period that you did and then sort of see that tide shift in the second period in the wrong way?
Yeah, and I mean, even the start to the second was fine. I mean, the first 10 minutes are we go into the penalty kill already at about the 10-minute mark of the second period. The shots are 17-6 or 16-6, something like that. So, it wasn't that part. It's how we came out of the penalty kill. We had one or two decent shifts, but we just had some play with a puck that we didn't get through in the neutral zone. We used the phrase "get through" I don't know how many times every single day. We weren't able to get through, and a little stubborn with the puck, and turned around in our net.
One of the things that Timo said is, maybe the mentality for worse kind of shifted in that once they score, you're moving away from your process and more like, okay, we got to score. Like, do you sense that ever on the bench?
Well, that's what I'm talking about with this being a little stubborn, and not getting rewarded, and now instead of just kind of building our game and sticking with the process, some of the top people get the puck on their stick and they're kind of feeling it, and then all of a sudden, because they check so well, they stuff you. It goes the other way, and like I said, when we made mistakes, they made us pay. A lot of the mistakes that they made, they're not talking about them on the other side because we didn't finish the opportunity that came on the other end of it.
On a completely separate note, Lenny obviously was called up, took warm-up, and I know there was the situation with Pally and Lamico obviously wasn't today. Is the intention to keep Lenny up here right now, or
yeah, he'll come on the trip with him? That was mainly the reason why he was coming here. I mean, the Palat situation, was unexpected, obviously, but Lenny got here, drove from Utica himself and got here just prior to the game. So today certainly was not the night, and certainly not the circumstances we've been talking about, trying to get him going. But he'll be on the trip, and we'll get him in at some point for sure.
Sheldon, how frustrating is it to the big picture kind of power play struggles against this team? I think it's 1 for 28 in the past 10 games.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I hate the word frustrating, as it's like it's useless and a waste of time. But it's a good penalty kill, and obviously they've had our number. I think we got one in our last playoff game we were in there. That just as the penalty was expiring, that was a good example of how to score against them, but difficult to get through. And again, a little stubborn with some of our puck play on there as well. But yeah, it's frustrating, but we found a way to get one in and gave us life in the game, and we're kind of going. So power play did his job in that sense. Once again, we get one in. If we score on some of our other opportunities, such as the 2-on-1 that we have when it's the 2-1 game right after the power play goal, we score there. Like all of a sudden, you're talking about the fact the power play breaks through, gave us life, and that was the thing that got us going. So, you overanalyze everything when you don't capitalize on your opportunities and you make some mistakes like we did. But certainly, bigger picture, when you look at our struggles against them, it's a real thing. We got to find a way. But you look at how many times we have pucks on our stick and we're unable to execute a play against them. So there's some execution elements inside of it that it's not a scheme thing. It's execution.
It seemed like breakouts and zone entries were a bit of a struggle tonight too. How much is that impacting your process that you mentioned there?
Well, we're playing against the team in the league that's the hardest to do the things that you're talking about. But as I said, we got in behind their defense and in alone on their goaltender 6 times tonight. You're not talking to me about any of this stuff if we put this puck in, some of those pucks in the net.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thanks.
Yeah, two things pretty clear there. He feels that the Devils, with Jack Hughes coming in deep, with Luke Glendening, who had a chance and somehow flubbed it. He backhanded it on goal, and on his follow-through hit it again. He just goal scoring has been a problem, obviously, for Luke. He hasn't scored yet. They had other chance 6 times, he said, they were behind the defense and just scored the one power play goal.
And it's execution, and I can't say why, but I'm looking in the first period. Frederick Anderson is not on his game. I mean, he was kind of off balance, struggling, giving up some rebounds. But, here's the bottom line, folks. The Devils are a pretty good team. But, Matt, any team in the National Hockey League has to execute when they have chances. Now, you're not going to fill the net 10 times, but, the Devils are struggling getting more than 2 goals. Tonight, they only got 1. So the execution on the chances in front have to be better. And how do you do that? Well, I don't know. Just practice, I guess.
I guess. I bear down. I don't know, but we've talked about it. The shooting percentage is low for some of the key guys. I mean, Luke Glendenning's got to score at some point. That fourth line's got to contribute a little bit. But when you have your top guys not able to come up with a goal for whatever reason, shots go wide, they're blocked, and then you have giveaways that lead to goals. It's just a recipe for what you have. And when it works, you come up with a W. When it doesn't, you lose, and that's why you sit 24-22-2.
Yeah, and there's a mystery here going on. My wife asks me, Diana, she doesn't know a lot, but she says, well, how come they could score so much to start the season? 8-1, right? I said, I don't really know, except they were just putting them in. And now they're putting them into the paraphernalia of the goalie or putting them into the boards, but they're not putting it into that white netting that they need to put the puck in.
And the other thing that Sheldon said that stood out, because he repeated it time and time again, is the stubbornness of the team. Now, if a team is standing up at the blue line and great with their sticks, not letting you get in deep, you keep trying it. You say, we're going to carry it in, and they say, well, keep coming. Boom, it's out, and you have to regroup. So what was he referring to? Should they have been dumping it in and chasing? Do they have to change their approach? And even though you know it, I know it, and they probably know it, they don't do it?
It's a great point, Matty. I think the deceiving part was the first period Devils were kind of doing what they wanted, but then they got shut down. That's maybe when, Matty, I'm just saying, that's maybe when you call a timeout. Say, guys, can you listen to me? They're standing up in the neutral. They're very tough. I don't know if it'll work, but let's start dumping it by them into the corner. Get a forecheck going. Let's win the puck battles and see if that works. And unfortunately, the Devils were just doing the same thing over and over. And then we got to 2-1. They thought, this isn't so bad. This is working. But I still think the third goal was really a killer. But anyway, Matty, all these answers, we all have theories, but nobody quite has the secret and solution, do they?
No, and the Devils will keep looking for it as they get ready for Calgary. That third goal by Carolina, Jackson Blake on a delayed penalty call at 8:33 made it 3-1. The final goal was just icing on the cake from a Carolina perspective, but because it was a special moment for Andrei Svechnikov, we will call it the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Oh, takeaway from Dylan by Jarvis. In deep, they score! And it's the hat trick for Andrei Svechnikov that makes it 4-1. He had a goal last night in the 9-1 victory over Florida. He has the hattie tonight, and that was the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. We're going to hear from Timo Meier, but first, let's check in with the starting goaltender, Jacob Markstrom.
Over the last little while, what has been, the real challenge that this team has had with Carolina, really?
I mean, I'm talking about today.
Right.
We're playing good. We're controlling the game, and then they break the ice and get the first one, and then I feel like they took over after that, and got a little bit more chances, and that's pretty much the game there.
Is it frustrating just the way you guys started in that first period? As you mentioned, you guys were really fully in control, and maybe that was the best period you guys have played against.
Yeah, we're doing it to ourselves, I feel like, and that's a tough way to lose when feel like we're doing the right things, and then small mistakes, and it's in the back of our net.
Is it just tough though that this is a team that you face and somehow the results are always the same? They seem to.
No, it's not the same. Different result every game. What was the last game?
Well, I'm
3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4-0 today.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you got one.
We got one. Yeah, 4-1. So not the same.
Feisty, testy, Jacob Markstrom.
Snarky, and you know what? He is snarky, but it's not just because he's blaming other people, Matty. He didn't really address it, but there were, especially the 5-hole, the second goal.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that just drives Marky crazy, and he was really pretty good up until that point. Not a lot of shots, but was moving and seemed to be on top of things. And the first goal, no chance, great shot, but the second one that goes through him, I just can't imagine how mad he was at himself. But Devils score. Looks like we're going to settle down. And then the third goal, he almost looked surprised. When he came across, if you're looking at him from his left to his right, he was a little bit off balance, and I don't think he was reading the play. And remember, Blake came off the boards. Maybe Markey was looking up the ice and say, there's nobody there. So all of a sudden, the place to his right, he's watching, and Blake's coming on. He doesn't see him or whatever because he looked kind of awkward going across, and then Blake went back against the grain and backhanded it in.
And the Devils lose 4-1. The only goal coming from Timo Meier. As I mentioned earlier, he finished with a game-high 6 shots on goal. 3 others were blocked. Carolina credited with 11 blocks tonight, and 4 others missed their target, and he spoke with Amanda Stein.
When you look at the results, is it frustrating that it seems to be similar to the past against this team?
Yeah, I thought, especially in the beginning of the game, until they scored their first goal, I thought we played well. And then, I don't know why, we kind of changed our game after that, and that plays right into their cards. And, we can't happen, especially against a team like that. We know how they like to play, and after we got scored on, we kind of played right into their cards.
It's easier said than done, but you really got to capitalize against that team, whether it's on a power play or get on them early.
Yeah, we'd like to take advantage of the power play earlier, especially create some momentum. I thought kind of did the opposite on the power play. Couldn't really get the zone, and that drives them, that gives them momentum. So. A lot of stuff we have to clean up. I liked our start, but then, like I said, it can't happen.
What did you sort of see in terms of the elements that you guys were doing that the game shifted? I know you said you can't really put your finger on it, but what was that change in the game process?
Yeah, maybe the thought of now we got to score, and we're kind of thinking now score a goal instead of focusing on the process, all the little things that will lead to a goal. And I think that's kind of what happened, and we gotta adjust that and really fix that.
How frustrating is that, knowing that the 2 performances you guys just had, you played with that process, you played with that patience, and then not to be able to reel that mentality in?
Yeah, it's. Today would have really needed 60 minutes of exactly the things that we've been doing well in the last 2 games before that. So it's frustrating, but now we gotta move on and really fix these things quick.
Is it equally frustrating, just the way that you guys have not really been able to pick up those points, particularly against metropolitan divisions, right?
Definitely, those are important points. But now it's, we got to look at it and look at the tape, look at the things we did wrong, the things we did right, and then clean it up real quick because, we got a good stretch coming up here that we got to take advantage. We got to come out with points, but at the same time, you got to focus on the process, and then you'll get the result.
We talk about that mentality now, going on the road and just trying to come together and find a way to be more successful.
Really important for this road trip we have here. The stretch before the Olympic break, we got to really start collecting some of these points, and it's still, it's tight, but every point matters. So can't have our focus too much on that. Like I said, the process is what will lead to that, but we got to figure out real quick and do it on the road.
Timo, we've talked so much about the process, right? Whether it's you or people in the media using that word, but what does that word mean to you guys when you're executing it?
Yeah, the details. It starts with the way you defend. I think that's the biggest thing. How you return into your defensive zone, the way you break out, and then leads up to puck management. I think we play our best when we can put sequences together. When we go on the forecheck, we outchange teams. We come out fresh, and we have fresh guys out there playing on the offense. And then no team likes to defend tired. So we got to have more of these shifts, especially in the second period. We didn't do that today. We did it in the beginning of the season. That was something we did really well, and we got to get back to that.
What does their PK do that makes it so difficult for you guys?
I mean, they pressure hard. They got a lot of guys with good sticks, and sometimes on the entry you just gotta go get it, put it in and then go get it, and they pressure all over the ice. So I think it's important to be able to make some plays, roll off some guys, and then you catch them running around, and we didn't compete hard enough to do that tonight.
That's Timo Meier, and I thought that was a pretty accurate description of what we saw. Dump the puck in. If they're knocking the puck away at the blue line, dump it in. Get in on the forecheck. Didn't do it enough.
Oh, well, Matt, that's part of it. And you'd say, well, why wouldn't they have seen that? We're seeing it. They're pros. Why isn't somebody reminding them? He also talked about the frustration of if they scored the first goal, they only had 4 shots, the Hurricanes did, in the first period. They ended up with 35, so that's 31 shots second and third period. But if the Devils had scored first, and I know that's a big factor, like Sheldon was saying, execution, when we have scoring chances, we got to score some goals. If they had scored first, I just think that this could have been looking like a whole different game, but they didn't, and they lost again by what seemingly is a bit of a mental obstacle. I don't know if it is. I'm not going to speak for the players, but they have to score some goals against this Carolina team when it counts early on.
Yep, Devils with 1 goal on 29 shots, 4 goals on 33 tries for Carolina, and that's a big difference tonight as they fall by a score of 4-1. Devils not only fail to gain ground, but they slip a little deeper in the Eastern Conference as they drop behind Columbus, who won their 4th in a row. Pittsburgh picked up a loser point in that game, so again, double whammy. Listen, it doesn't matter. If the Devils don't start putting some things together, the climb is going to be impossibly difficult. The Devils 6 points out of a playoff spot, and now just 34 games left on the schedule, 9 before the Olympic break. So on that note, we'll wrap things up for our coverage of this Devils game against the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils back in action on Monday night as they take on Calgary, a game you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.